everybody. Welcome to another episode on Auto Call MAFS. Today, I will be speaking about Polyfamily, and my guest is Aid. Happy to have you. Hi, Aid. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am excited to talk about this. And for those of you who didn't catch, I had a bonus episode on the Patreon. Aid was a guest and we talked about sister wives. And towards the end, Aid was like, "Oh, do you watch Polyfamily?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." We had a whole discussion about it because you saw it and you watched it. And she's like, "I have so many thoughts." And I'm like, "Okay, you don't have to tell me twice." So Aid is going to share all her thoughts today on this show that is driving me nuts. But before we go into this, did you watch Sunday's episode of Sister Wives?
Of course.
Aid, I okay. So when we did the first, the recap of all that, that was really sad and that was really all that. This one wrecked me, Aid. I just wasn't ready for it and I probably shouldn't have watched it, but this had me all just I was wrecked. A sobbing mess.
It was yeah. If the first two Garrison passing episodes were off not awful, but very very sad.
Yeah.
And then this one was even sadder if such a thing was possible.
I think it's the finality of it all.
Yeah.
Like it's just, that's it. I tell people all the time and it sounds dramatic. I've only been to one funeral in my life and I feel like I'm traumatized. Not because it's not a regular thing of life, but it just genuinely truly it's just such a thing that is like, how is this something we're supposed to do in life and then keep going like that didn't happen and then we have to do it multiple times. So that's just every time I saw Janelle, it was just crazy to me. And it's just kudos to them again for sharing this with us. But, in the episode, I did say that, I wasn't going to be mean to Cody. Like, no one should go through this loss and all of that things. But I feel like this episode, he kind of pissed me off. And I'm trying to be respectful of his loss, but it felt like the Cody showman was back again. He kept saying, "I'm bringing my boy home. I'm doing this." And it was like this big event. But where was the accountability when he was alive? Where was the recognition that I could have done better? Where was all this when he was? I don't know. I wasn't pissed off that first two, but I just got really pissed off this season with it all. I don't know what you were thinking or if I'm too late, if I'm having a delayed reaction to everything that Cody said on that episode.
I I'm still not mad at Cody. I feel like I'm a minority in this. Um because I do feel like, a lot of people are just really not, yeah. But for me, it's I just don't think I'm not connecting with his grief the way I am other people's.
Okay.
Like every time he's on, I'm listening, I'm sympathizing, but I don't have this like soul deep thing that's different from when I watch like Janelle or truly anybody else. Even Peyton, who I don't like that man either. um it's just not it's not connecting, which in some ways makes me feel bad, but it's just the way Cody communicates and expresses himself.
hmm
It's I'm not connecting with it
Yeah.
while still sympathizing.
I think that's what it is. I'm not mad at him per se. I'm just mad at the fact that he can't turn it off for this moment. I feel like he's still turning it on for this. And now is not the time to be turning it on, if that makes any sense.
hmm and I was kind of speculating, but I said even with Garrison gone, I don't think the relationships have been mended. And
hmm
then the episode aired and I was like, yeah, I mean, they're showing us what I suspected. It hasn't changed anything, which is shocking.
Yeah. I was happy to see Leon because when Janelle said, "Oh, I'm just going to go help Leon," and I was like, "Wait, did she say that?" I wasn't sure. And then I actually saw Leon and I was like, "Oh, that's so nice." And I don't know if you've had anything from Reddit, but apparently this is where Robin pissed off Gwen. Have you heard that?
I've heard this, but I've heard McKelty said on her Patreon something about Robin doing something at the service to piss somebody off, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
McKelty wasn't at this service. So now I'm like, you're saying Gwen. So I'm like, did something happen with Gwen that was then passed off to McKelty? Like, what are we talking about?
I think it was Gwen that I heard. Yeah, I think it was Gwen that I heard was pissed off by that, but I'm not like knee deep, so I didn't know what happened, but apparently that wasn't included, which is fine because this just needs to be solely about Garrison and all that, not all the not petty stuff, but the stuff that's going on there. But yeah. Okay. Just wanted to touch on that and see what you thought about that. And now we can go on to the other Poly family. And what are your thoughts so far in the first 4 episodes that you've watched? Is oh man, there's so many things to talk about. Sean is getting to eat his cake and have it. Sean does have some kind of relationship with Taya. I do think that there's some he feels safe with Taya, like in talking to her and expressing himself there. Sean is, by my speculation, getting kids out of it. And then I found out something this week that I don't know if that's true or not. I think I might have mentioned it with Brian where I said maybe he's not able to have kids because we were saying those babies look just like Tyler. So, and then we find out that this youngest kid is also Tyler's. But then the internet is saying that Sean has 5 kids from a previous relationship before he got with Taya. He started dating Taya before he got a divorce, but he's not in contact with the kids for not good reasons.
Yeah. So 5 kids, 3 biological, 2 steps is what I heard. 2 ex-wives. Um, and used to have the names tattooed on his arm and got it covered up since he's
Mm-hmm.
married Taya and gone on to create a new family. I have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of issues. First, I mean, starting from the first episode, I don't know. Like, they're like, oh, we all 4 agreed to be parents to the 2 kids that Tyler and Alysia had. I'm like, even the fact that those kids don't call them by parental names, they're
Mm-hmm.
step parents.
Mm-hmm.
I am uncomfortable on behalf of those 2 children because they did not sign up for this and they were not born into this.
Yeah. And then, one of the good reasons that I saw, I should say allegedly, I don't know what's true or what's not because anyone can say anything these days, is that child endangerment. So if it is true, and if it means public record, I mean, I'm sure someone can look it up or something, I think, I'm not sure. Why would Tyler and Alicia put their kids in that situation? Like, why are we being irresponsible?
This all started with them because Tyler wanted a threesome and Alicia was like, I don't think she really wanted to do it. But once again, it's like, oh, well, I want to keep our relationship. I guess if
Hmm.
this is what I got to do to keep our relationship. The fact that that was their springboarding point really says a lot about where they are now.
Yeah. But then everyone is saying, I mean, I don't follow them. I'm not on TikTok, but apparently they're like they're well known by people on social media. Like they were famous on there before they got called to be on the TV show, and they appear to be boring, and they seem to be fine, and they put out a statement or something saying like, remember, like TV wants drama, so it's not real and all that good stuff, and it was filmed a year ago. They seem happy. Some people are like they've seen them around in the poly community and they seem fine. But then I've also seen people from the poly community saying like they're a terrible representation of them.
Oh, I mean, of course. And I want to say the stuff with Sean is serious and it's pretty substantiated.
Mm. Oh,
So
oh, really?
it's yeah, it's like, so the things with Sean are the previous family. There's also the he was having inappropriate online contact with a 13-year-old in New Mexico. That no conviction or anything, but that investigation is substantiated. As a result of that situation, um one of the ex-wives or 2 of the ex-wives, petitioned for custody of the children. It is suspected, and this part isn't substantiated. Sean kind of works, but doesn't really work, but maybe work. Apparently, he can't keep a job. There's someone on Reddit who knows them personally, And anybody can get on the internet and say anything, but I do think this person really knows what they're talking about. And this person says that they called CPS on Ray on basically on Sean due to him having they were concerned about Raina.
My eyes are on the floor at this moment.
And
What?
then I think the connection, and I think this is so interesting because people who are like paying attention, I felt like you and Brian and anybody else who watched, there was something about that scene where Sean was like telling
Mhm.
Raina she must go downstairs because she got in trouble for lying.
Yeah.
That coupled with what we know about Sean is really not good. Because as someone says, they're already setting up that she's a liar
Yeah.
and he's trying to separate her from even the adult figures in the house.
Mhm.
You can't I'm not going to make accusations. I don't know these people. I'm not in their house. But I already didn't like this step parent situation for those two kids, and this
Mm-mm.
is yet another reason why. I'm not in support of you saying to your children any more than you would if they were a step parent. That's what really gets me.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do this with a step parent. You can't force a parent onto a child. That's so rude.
It's also unfair to make children adjust to a situation. The younger kids, this is all they've known. These kids knew their parents for 5 and 4 years, and then you forced these people, like you said, on them. It's just, they don't have adult brains. Their full frontal lobe is not fully formed. Like, it's just so unfair, but oh my god, this is awful. Which brings me to the next point. What the fuck is wrong with TLC? They've been accused of so many things. Why would you even take that risk?
I mean, TLC is bad, but why don't do these people think they can go on TV and their stuff won't come out? You know what's going on. When these things happened, Sean was dating or married to Taya, according to their own timeline. So
Hmm.
you knew this stuff was in your past. Do you just not think people won't care?
I think they don't. I mean, this question comes up all the time. Like in the group chat that we're on, someone has asked the question, like, why wouldn't these like thieves or people with secrets just lay low? And I'm like, it gotta be something. I don't know. They just want to be out there instead of laying low. Oh god, I hate when kids are involved. It's just adults can do whatever the hell they want to do to themselves, but not the kids.
Ew. And then, to go to this week's episode where they're like, what are we going to do if one of us dies? Which is, when you're a parent, these are the things you need to be concerned about and consider. But I just don't understand how you can be like, I don't know if the word is entitled. I'm like, but why should the legal system set up for you to your life choices?
Let's talk
You
about Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
really actually disagree with their decision to be like, let's just play Russian roulette with who the daddy.
That's what I was going to say. Let's talk about that. There's a whole lot to unpack in there. First of all, Oregon state law saying like the person you're married to is who's on the birth certificate. That's a whole thing. That's too complicated for me.
That's
But this
very
thing,
common. That's why Gypsy Rose is where she's at.
oh, I have no idea what's going on.
It's I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised in all 50 states if you are married to a person and you have a baby, their name is on the birth certificate. Later on, you can do different things, all these things Gypsy Rose is going to have to do to get someone off the birth certificate, but all of family law as is written, it says it's for the best interest of the children, and all decisions are supposed to be in the best interest of the children. And financially, if you're a married couple and one of you has a baby, that's your kid until you can find someone else to be that child's kid.
So let me get this straight. If someone walks into a hospital and says, no, I want this person to be on my birth certificate because I cheated on my husband. Or if a spouse, okay, let's say a spouse cheated on their husband and the husband is like, you better not put my name on that birth certificate. They can't do that by law. It has to be that person.
By law, it has to be that person.
The more you know. TIL.
Later
Today
on,
I learned.
like different states, I think have different laws about if you believe you're not that kid's father, I think first you have to get, well, I don't know. I'm like, do you have to get divorced first?
Well,
There are steps you can take to disavow a child, but generally speaking, you can't disavow a child until someone else is there to be that child's father. So if you're
but
like, I'm not the father, there has to be a mechanism to petition whoever the father is to get him on that birth certificate. Because it's not about the birth certificate. It's about who is financially responsible for that child, who is paying child support.
But I also thought that there was an option of not putting anyone as the dad on the birth certificate because that I've heard of.
If you're single, but not if you're married.
Sweet baby Jesus. Okay, well, this
And I
is
guess you
blowing
can
my.
walk into the hospital and lie, I guess, and say I'm not married when you are married, but I also think that's fraud.
Hey, it's the least of their worries right now. Okay, the hypocrisy of like the Russian roulette and we don't want to know, we don't want to find out, so many things. First, Tyler is just doing an update. Hey, this is what we found out. This is what we did. If you really didn't want to know, why did Sean go research it? And also, if it really doesn't matter and we're all the parents' kids, what does it matter who's the bio kid and who's not the bio? I mean, the bio dad and who's not the bio dad? Like, to me, it's a lot of hypocrisy. Like, why does it really matter? Why did Sean go find out? I feel like Sean is a little insecure and feels like all of the kids might be Tyler's because he does mention something about it in the last episode, but it's just a little hypocritical to me, the whole thing that's going on there.
It's all very hypocritical. And this is nothing about this makes us believe they're equipped. Like for instance, Sean and the whole first off ascribing bad intent to Tyler.
Mm.
This is you guys are in a relationship. You by your own choice. So even though you aren't in a sexual relationship, you're all about we're a quad, we're together, we're raising children together. Doesn't that require like a minimal amount of trust that that person is not out to get you? But they don't even have that.
Yeah, let's throw that out. They hate each other.
They hate each other.
They hate each other. So I just be, and it's very evident because Taya was there also, and he's not mad at Taya.
And then Alicia once again is the left out one because the thing Alicia is the person who I actually understand the most out of the four of them. Like she's the one who I like. I always get what she's saying and what she's feeling, even when it's bonkers. Like, oh, I want to breastfeed. I'm like, are you crazy? But
Oh
she's
man.
constantly feeling left out. And it's true because Sean went and talked to Taya about how he felt about the text message. He texted Taya about the text message. Doesn't say nothing to Alicia.
Even though they were side by side with each other. She didn't even know all the drama until they went, was it paintballing or something like that? And then she's like, what's going on? And Taya's like, oh, what had happened was, and she's like, oh, and I didn't know about it. And I was sitting right there. But I mean, she should listen to her intuition because like if you watch, Survivor, Big Brother, and you have your alliances, you always know like, yeah, you might be in an alliance of four, but someone is number four. And I think Alicia knows that she's number
Number
four
four.
in all situations because I felt so bad for her that they went through all of this. Sean was mad at Tyler and Tyler was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And this, and she had no idea that that was going on. And then the same thing is like, I think this last episode, Sean mentioned like, Taylor is my person that I confide in. That's the person I talk to and one-on-one time. And she even said it. She said, Sean is not my person. He doesn't trust me. And until we get there, and then she can see her husband, even though on the flip side, Taya said something about how we connect, Taya and Tyler, is through sex. And I'm like, wait, is that all you have? Because the way she said it, it sounded like that was it.
And the way, everybody, well, if you've ever talked to a postpartum woman, like everything she was describing about not feeling herself and not being ready for sex, even though the doctor cleared her for sex, that's all like very, very normal. But
Mm-hmm.
I also felt like there was a lot of drama. And I think the drama was because she's like, oh, we're here and we're not having sex. Like they can't have fun together. They can't hang out together. And you know what? Based on what Tyler said when they got home, I don't think they had sex, but they did sexual things
They did things,
because that's all they have.
which is terrible too. Because what is going on? And it's just unfortunate for Alicia because it's not in her head.
No.
I think that's the thing. Both guys are enamored by Taya. Tyler wants her physically. Sean wants her physically and intellectually. And I just don't know what they don't gush about Alicia. I think Tyler's connection to Alicia is just the time on how long they've been together.
And
But
their kids.
oh man. she should never have gotten into this. I just feel bad for her all the time. And she's the only one that we've seen cry. Well, Tay has cried, but she cried, I want to say for a valid reason when they went to the lawyer and they found out that this was very complicated. But
I,
go ahead.
okay, I guess crying was valid, but I'm also just really frustrated with them and their lack of planning. You could have done this any which way. You could have actually done this in a way that kind of protected, at least in some ways.
Hmm.
But you guys are just, it's like hedonistic to me.
Well, they're winging it. And it's just, you can't wing things when kids are involved. That's just always my bottom line.
The same
Because
way that Tyler and Sean aren't particularly close. Taya and Alicia do not hate each other.
they've just
But
accepted each other.
they're not close. They're not
Mm-mm.
like, they don't seem to have like an emotional depth of closeness together.
Mm-mm.
All their bonds seem pretty weak.
Yeah. And they keep trying to tell us that it's not about sex. And I'm just, okay. If someone was to ask you, can you name one positive thing that you've noticed about their relationship?
Mm,
Can you find one?
nothing. Just resentment all around. Like this stupid date thing. I'm like, what kind of date needs to be an overnight date? Um,
Because they didn't want to call it what they wanted to call it. It really was sexy time to me.
ugh,
That's just what it was because, like you said, I was like, it doesn't have to be overnight. Like, you could go do something and then come back. So, if you're trying to do away from the baby, to me, that's what they were implying. And then no one's being honest. Everyone's just like, I mean, I get it. I get it. She's postpartum. She had to have it, but it would have been nice. Oh, it's been a while since we had this. So, then why don't you all four just go together and then whoever's night it is, just, oh, someone has to watch the kids. My bad. Her
exactly.
mom's there.
5 kids. Like, can you imagine? My husband left to go hang out with his girlfriend and
Mm,
left me with
mm,
5
mm,
children
mm,
to take
mm.
care of with Sean, who is, I'm sorry, even before all these revelations about Sean, they're like,
Mhm.
oh, he's grumpy, but underneath is soft and mushy. He just seems like an angry asshole all the time.
Let me ask this. Do you think Tyler put that blood type in the text on purpose?
It is hard for me because I do not know my own blood type. So to me, that information doesn't seem like something that would establish. And apparently, he didn't even get it right.
Oh.
Like Sean didn't really do any research. I think he assumed he had some knowledge and just kind of went with that.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, they don't know for sure.
so truthfully, I don't think Tyler meant to do anything.
Me too. And if it was something that would easily cross anyone's mind, I feel like Taya knows Sean and she would be like, oh, no, 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 don't send that text because it might, but she didn't even think of that either. So I don't know why. It's just because he hates him so much, he wants to pin something on him.
He ascribes bad intent. And the only reason you ascribe bad intent is because you don't trust the person that apparently you were in a quad relationship with and raising 5 children
Raising
together, but you don't trust them.
children. That is crazy. I don't know. I mean, going back to Alicia just saying like, I'm okay with him being the father of the child as she cries.
She's not okay.
And then she says something and goes, we talked about it, but it brings up past hurt, past triggers. And I'm like, what are these? Stop speaking in code. Did he cheat? What happened? What are the past hurt? What are the past triggers? That's what
I
I want to
think
know.
I think we see it. So her thing is she don't want to know when Taya and Tyler are having sex.
Mm-hmm.
They're not to mention it in front of her. They're not to say what they did. She doesn't want details. She wants to pretend it's not happening.
I think it was even worse when Sean, instead of Sean to back her up and be like, I understand where he's like, I don't care. I mean, I know he's like, don't we know they're having sex? I was like, this guy is so, and it's worse when you feel like she said, I'm the odd man out because no one else has a problem. And she seemed genuinely surprised by the fact like you've been dating these people for like almost 5 years. How do you not know how they are? And how are you just finding out in the fifth year that you're the only one who cares? When you made the rule, I would assume that would be a natural conversation. Didn't they all make it because of you? Did anyone else say, oh, you're right, I don't want to know?
No, it's just her. But once
Oh,
again, I'm on her side because I think that it's legitimate to be upset about your husband having sex with his girlfriend.
Honestly, once you've gotten past the fact that you want your husband to have a girlfriend, I just,
She doesn't want her husband to have a girlfriend. He wanted a girlfriend.
she agreed. She agreed to
She
it.
agreed to it.
She agreed to it.
I
So,
don't think she
hey,
should have done that.
she should not have done that. Now I feel like they're trapped. Everyone's telling me they look happy on social media, and I really just want to be like, guys, social media is not real either. Like, I don't, I don't know why anyone's putting that up as a fight. Like, they look happy and healthy. It's content. They have to make it look nice.
I mean, because when I found out that they had been on TikTok and they have a good following there, I was just like, was Sean in this? And actually, it's not just Sean. Like, Sean, Taya, and Tyler are not particularly expressive people. Like, they kind of speak in a monotone. They don't look lively. And I realize we're watching them as they are dealing with a newborn.
There's not sleep.
They don't have any like verve to them. And I'm like, this is how, because you can perform on TikTok for like 60 seconds or whatever. That's
Hmm.
easy. But to be on like TV and be expressive for like multiple minutes at a time, I think is pretty beyond them.
I think that was part
Except for
of
Alicia.
that was part of what I was seeing online, where someone was saying like you have to have some poly families where like they got approached to be on the reality TV, but then they decided that they didn't have enough conflict and they were not compelling, and everyone was like, what is compelling about this family? Some people are bored by it, and I kind of have to agree with them. Like the first episode, all that newness, I was enamored by it, but like, oh my god, this is so crazy, this is wild, this is this. But now when like episode 4, it feels so early, like Sister Wives, where it's like it's the same thing in different versions, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, if it's sustainable.
I don't fall for it anymore. Like Sister Wives has taught me. And in fact, I was not watching, like I don't watch these shows anymore. I refuse. Seeking Sister Wife, I'm like, I'm not watching it. It's
Hmm.
Tane's fault that I'm watching this show. She posted about it and I was like, well dang, I guess I gotta watch it.
I can't
It's the
believe that
same
people.
thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same. Like I don't know what else is gonna fight. They're always gonna hate each other. Alicia is always gonna be insecure. Taya is gonna be dissatisfied, and Sean is gonna be grumpy. So where do we go from there?
I think the only thing that makes it worse than Sister Wives is the structure of Sister Wives made it actually kind of simple for people to leave, not financially,
Hmm.
but it made it pretty simple. Like, these are your children. This is their dad. Like, if no one can leave. They're like, oh, they look happy. No one, I think eventually someone's going to leave. I think it'll probably be
Someone
Alicia.
has
And
to.
I want her to be like Christine. I want her to go out there and find one man who loves her.
Honestly, I feel like if someone was to leave, it'll be Taya.
But the thing, I think Taya would take the boys with her.
Yeah, I think um Alicia is too chicken to leave, even if she wants to leave. She's gonna be the one that's gonna break up this thing, and she's like, I'm not gonna do that. But Taya's gonna be like, listen, I need a woman. I don't know what y'all are doing. Y'all hate each other, and she's young, and she's done having kids. If I had to put money on it, I'll put it on her. But I just, when they went to the lawyer, I was just like, this is valid because this is like a very high probability reality of what's going to happen. And I'm just thinking about a custody battle that would be unnecessary if they never got into this in the first place. Why didn't they just swing? I think this is a question that keeps coming up. There is no responsibility there. Sean just came, bulldozed the whole thing, and said, we're moving in together. We're going to be in a quad. And everyone was like, okay, sure. But why just keep swinging? That way, you even have different partners all the time. And you don't have to put your kids in this situation and you don't have to commit to anything this long because now you're trapped, I think.
We
Or maybe I'm.
also don't. So I think the reason, the internet has a lot to say. People have kind of accused or implied that Tyler and Alicia are the breadwinners.
Yes.
Sean and Taya do work in some capacities, but most of the money apparently is coming from Tyler and Alicia. I don't know if that's true, but that is what's speculated.
And now TLC.
So when Sean says, "Oh, we all have to move in together and get serious," like there may have been some financial incentive for him to say that.
This is crazy. I just, every time I watch it, I'm just like, this cannot be real. It just sounds stressful. They're trying to tell me that it's not, that there are four parents to take care of the babies and there are other things, but it just sounds stressful.
The only time we've seen them do a family activity, one of them was pissed. And it really bothered me how, if you were upset, why could you not just go to Tyler and say, "Hey, I'm upset for X reason"? It took days, separate conversations here and there for you guys to finally sit down and talk like adults. You're supposed to, once again, relationship, raising children together. And you can't do that?
How do you think Sean's going to react when he hears that Taya told Tyler that he's the most romantic person she's ever dated?
I
Like, these people are built of steel. I could not. I would be the Alicia in a quad.
think I would definitely, no, I wouldn't be the Alicia at a quad because no one's talking me into this nonsense. I'm sure the polyamory people out there are like, they have their opinions based on the life that they lead. My
Yeah,
opinion on polyamory is that it always seems to be an excuse for sanctified cheating. People can barely make marriages with two people happen, last, make it thriving, make everybody, the two people in the relationship good.
yeah.
When you start adding three, four, five, I don't see it getting better.
Nope. Like someone's always on the losing end of it. There's just someone that's missing out because someone will always be the Robin, and it happened to be Taya. So it's working out fine for her. The only thing that would make Taya's life like the ultimate best was if Alicia was bisexual.
Yes.
Then she'll
And
have
she's not.
everything she ever wanted, and everyone's fawning over her. It'll be great, and that'll be it. I think my final thing that I noticed, the whole thing, Alicia is losing again because she's the one who lost family. Man, she's going through it. And she said that, oh no, that was Tyler. Tyler's mom is the one that's not around, but I don't know if it's because of the relationship or because
Because
of
of
the
the camera.
cameras. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Tyler's
they
mom is
never.
involved. She just didn't want to be filmed.
But she only who's the person that only recognizes their kids. Maybe I'm mixing that up. Maybe it was Alicia. But Alicia is trying to get her dad. Is that for next week's preview? Trying to get her dad involved, and Sean and Taya are just like, no, if they're not going to recognize us, we don't want it. And I feel like once again, she's being bullied because I think they should give it grace. Like just because your parents accepted it, I know her dad is not accepting of it, but if she's trying to have some kind of relationship, like shouldn't there be some allowances, like baby steps to see if it becomes something else than telling her? It almost feels like they're saying it's us or him.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that at all. Maybe it's because, look, if you were my family member and you start saying I'm poly and this person, I want you to accept them as much as you accept my partner, I'd probably say okay. But there's a part of me that's thinking like how much do I got to spend on Christmas gifts? Like you're adding all these people. It's too much. Um I don't think it's crazy that a parent would have objections to you, and I wonder if they're leaving out some of the context about Sean's background and past.
Yeah, yeah,
Because that would be a legitimate reason for me to be like, actually, no, I don't want to accept these two people into my family just because you decided to like be a quad.
yeah.
And I also think there can be space for you to have your own individual relationship with your dad and
Hmm.
maybe even your two older kids. I mean, it's not great, but I don't think it's a crazy ask on her dad's part.
Nope. Especially with the Sean story. Like that's why I'm even thinking they should give her more grace. Like I don't know, but they're
I,
not being. Nothing they do is making sense to me. That it's par for course.
I would also say that if we're like, if they were like just Tyler, right? If you were just with one person and that one person said, "Oh, your family doesn't accept me. You can't talk to them anymore." That would
Hmm.
be a problem. So why would it be any different here?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are people who believe like, "Oh, if your mom won't talk to me, then you shouldn't talk to your mom." I think that's a decision that should be left up to you with no pressure from your partner.
Yeah. And if she's expressing and just saying like, I would like to test out the way, because it sounds like she hasn't spoken to them in a while and there's a possibility and she's trying to test the waters. Like, why wouldn't you just help her out?
Oh, I can't. I don't like, and that's the other thing. If you ask me who I like, I think I like Alicia, and I don't like anybody else.
We like Alicia because she's the underdog in this situation. And we're just like, girl, why? Why?
I don't
Yeah,
like
but
Tyler. I don't like Sean. I don't really care for Taya either. Like,
we need more. I wish it was possible. I know they gave us the brief history of why they got into this, but I feel like I understand why Alicia and Tyler got into it. I don't understand Taya and Sean's, especially when they ended up with someone with a wife that wasn't bisexual. Because at first she wanted to open it up to another woman, but now that it's not, what was the incentive for Sean?
well, it sounds like in the beginning, Alicia was willing to. I think she did it for maybe like
Mm-mm.
they tried, and
Well,
then she was
remember,
like, "It's not really for me." So I wonder if it was like a bait and switch.
no, but remember that it was only, I think I talked about in the first episode how that made me uncomfortable because it just didn't sound right. How she was like, no, I don't want to. And someone was like, alcohol helped and it didn't. So when there's alcohol, I think, she kind of leans it, but it's just not her thing. And it just sounds icky, like making someone do something that they don't really want to do, but it's just because there's alcohol. Because then are you giving me alcohol to get me all loose and ready? Or I don't know, it just sounds gross. But yeah, so I didn't see it as a bait and switch. It just seemed like one of those, oh, when I'm a little tipsy, I dabble, but I'm not really into it. So
Yeah,
why did they start in the first place with Sean, and what was Sean's incentive? Taya, I can see. Sean, what was his incentive? I don't know.
it's really it's very hard. Sean is actually the hardest person to figure out. Everybody else's motives and advantages seem very clear. You just wonder why Sean isn't more like Alicia.
Yeah. My husband walks in and sees it and all that, and he keeps calling him Fat Joe because he
Nice.
thinks they look alike. Um, I was like, they're just bald.
I think
But
that's kind of an insult to Fat Joe.
oh dear. Oh man. But anyways, do you have any other thoughts
I mean,
on
I'm
this
probably going to
family?
see this season through because there is
Yeah.
something interesting about this thing. But I do think this relationship is doomed. 5 years, 10 years, and it's going to be so messy with those kids.
How long does it take Sister Wives?
Oh, Lord. Dang.
It was like a lot, like
10
over
to
10
14
years.
years?
Yeah. So they better pray there's not a pandemic. It's gonna. Do you know what just occurred to me? I don't know what their last name is. What do they go by? Like we have the Brown family. What are they?
Oh,
What are the kids' last names?
I wonder if they hyphenated the kids' last names.
Oh, I can't wait for them to grow up. But I don't think the show will last that long.
No. I think between Sean's issues, I don't I think they're doing pretty good. They're getting a lot of attention. So,
Hmm.
okay, I think they'll get a second season.
I think they'll get a second season. The Doritos are still on. I thought that was not on. I didn't. I didn't know that show was still on. And then TLC doesn't care. The chatter doesn't mean anything to them. Like they'll just see what it is and keep going with it.
And we always have to remember that we are the minority. The people who pay
Yes.
attention to anything outside of what they show on TV are the minority. Everybody
Hmm.
else's like thoughts, opinions, whatever come directly from watching the show.
That is true. I literally just found out about Sean 5 minutes before we recorded. I had no idea. I would have come on here just yapping my mouth away, and you'd have been like, "Well, team." So, anyways, always a pleasure to have you, Aid. We'll have you back pretty soon. And guys, you know where to find me. It is also called MAFS on social media, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. And please give the podcast a 5-star rating. Really helps on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, guys. Talk to you then. Bye.
Bye.